Welcome to Concrete Block, your go-to source for in-depth analysis and discussion of the day's most pressing news stories. I'm your host, Walter, and we're glad you're joining us today. As we dive into the headlines, it's clear that international relations are at the forefront of the news cycle. Tensions between India and Pakistan have been escalating, with a fragile ceasefire in place after recent clashes in the disputed Kashmir region. According to reports, both countries have accused each other of violating the agreement, leaving villagers caught in the crossfire fearing for their lives. Meanwhile, the United States has been engaged in fresh nuclear talks with Iran, as concerns grow over the country's enrichment activities. These discussions are part of a broader effort to address the complex web of geopolitical issues in the Middle East, where regional stability is often precarious. In other news, Israeli Foreign Minister has expressed full endorsement of a U.S. aid plan for Gaza, aiming to alleviate humanitarian concerns in the region. This development comes as leaders from around the world continue to seek solutions to the long-standing conflicts that have plagued the area for decades. We're also keeping an eye on the situation in Ukraine, where President Zelensky has welcomed overtures from Russia, but emphasized that a ceasefire must be established before any meaningful peace talks can take place. The international community remains vigilant, with Turkey offering to host negotiations between the two nations. And finally, in a display of solidarity and celebration, Cuba marked its annual Pride Parade in Havana, highlighting the importance of inclusivity and diversity in societies around the world. These stories and more are what we'll be exploring on today's episode of Concrete Block. We strive to provide you with balanced and nuanced perspectives, helping you make sense of the complex news landscape. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the details. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into our middle segment. Today, we're exploring a fascinating story that's got everyone talking: the potential gift of a $400 million presidential plane from the Qatari government to the Trump administration. Now, let's break it down. The story goes that the Trump administration has been looking to upgrade the presidential plane, and Qatar has offered to gift them a brand new one. But here's the thing. This gift raises some serious questions about ethics and legality. The Emoluments Clause of the Constitution prohibits elected officials from accepting gifts from foreign governments, and many are arguing that this gift would be a clear violation of that clause. On one hand, the Trump administration is saying that they've done their diligence and that the gift is perfectly legal. They're pointing to the fact that the plane will be upgraded and modified by the Air Force to meet the president's security needs, and that it will ultimately be owned by the U.S. government. But on the other hand, critics are arguing that this gift is just another example of the Trump administration's cozy relationship with foreign governments, and that it could potentially influence their decision-making. It's also worth noting that Qatar has a lot to gain from this deal. The country has been trying to improve its relationships with the U.S., and gifting a presidential plane could be seen as a way to curry favor. And let's not forget, the Trump Organization has recently struck a $5.5 billion deal to build an international golf club in Qatar. So what does it all mean? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Some are saying that this gift is just another example of the Trump administration's disregard for ethics and the law. Others are arguing that it's a legitimate way for the U.S. to improve its relationships with foreign governments. As always, we want to hear from you. Do you think this gift is a good idea, or do you have concerns about its legitimacy? Let us know on social media using the hashtag #ConcreteBlock. And that's where we'll leave it for now. It's a complex issue, and one that's sure to continue making headlines in the days and weeks to come. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at the latest developments in UK immigration policy. The Labour government has unveiled plans to overhaul the system, aiming to reduce net migration and promote integration among newcomers. According to reports, the new rules will require adult dependents to demonstrate basic English language skills, a move intended to help them integrate into British society and avoid exploitation. Additionally, the automatic settlement route after 5 years will be scrapped, with most migrants needing to stay at least 10 years before they can apply for settled status. The government has also announced plans to end the recruitment of care workers from overseas, instead prioritizing the hiring of British nationals or extending visas for overseas workers already in the country. This move is expected to cut up to 50,000 lower-skilled and care workers coming to the UK over the next year. While some critics argue that these changes may split families or create unnecessary barriers for migrants, others see them as a necessary step towards addressing public concerns about immigration. The Conservative Party has welcomed some aspects of the plan, but is pushing for a binding migration cap, which Labour is expected to oppose. Reform UK, a party that has been gaining traction in recent local elections, attributes its success to public anger over both legal and illegal migration. As the debate continues, it's clear that immigration remains a highly contentious issue in British politics. It's worth noting that successive governments have struggled to reduce net migration, which stood at 728,000 last year. The new rules aim to strike a balance between controlling immigration and ensuring that the UK remains an attractive destination for skilled workers and others who can contribute to the economy. As we conclude this segment, it's essential to acknowledge the complexity of the issue and the need for a nuanced approach. Immigration policies have far-reaching consequences, affecting not only migrants themselves, but also communities, businesses, and the broader economy. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.